What's up everybody, JustinWatchesMovies here. Today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. Instead of doing the normal ranking video for all of the Marvel films that I do every single time there is a Marvel film, and I feel incomplete if I don't do one, we're going to make a tier list just because I've seen these all around YouTube for video games, movies. I've even seen them for food and wrappers, and I thought it'd be something a little bit different with this list. I like to do the ranking videos, but I want to do something just a little bit different with you guys. So we're going to make this kind of laid back. I have here a tier list that I found on tiermaker.com. I thought it was a pretty cool website. I've been kind of playing around with it. I made a tier list of all of the original 151 Pokemon. That was very interesting. It was a lot of fun. But from my understanding, with the tier list you have here, the S is like the best, the awesome movies that you have, and then A, of course, an A movie, it's really good. B is pretty good. C is kind of towards the bottom, and D is like the worst of the bunch. I didn't put an F in there because I don't think any of these Marvel films, even the worst ones, are not F movies. So we're gonna start. Looks like they might have them. They don't have them in alphabetical order here. They just got them in kind of random order, not even from when they were released. I got a hat on. I got a small soda because the doctor told me I can't drink a lot of soda because I'm on a certain diet, and I want soda still. And we're going to kind of keep this relaxed and have fun with it. So the first one we have here is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. The first time I ever saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I thought this was like a really cool movie. And it might have been that like I just saw it and was like, oh, this is funny, it's action-packed, but as I watch this movie more and more, it's just not a very good film. There's so many different storylines that really don't resonate with me. They just try to add some emotional moments, and it really does not work. It is funny. I think the cast does a great job in their roles. It's just a movie that they tried to do too much with it, and it really took away from the core group. So our first one here, I'm going to take Guardians, and I'm going to put it in the D. Yeah, it's towards the bottom of the list for me. I don't think it's one of the best Marvel films they have. Next up, we got Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man movie. I really enjoyed this film. I think Paul Rudd is really good in his role. He's really funny. I like how they utilize him as, you know, small and then going back to normal size and back and forth. I think it works. It adds a new style of action to a Marvel film that we have not seen before. I like the story. It feels more personal and smaller compared to other Marvel films. It's not because he's small, but I really enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead and put Ant-Man in the B section. It's kind of towards the middle. I like it. Next up, we got Avengers Age of Ultron. Every time I watch Avengers Age of Ultron, it dips lower and lower and lower on my list. I really would like to absolutely love the film. It has all of the elements to make it a good Avengers film. You got the whole good cast. You got Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in there. You even got Ultron as a pretty good villain. But there's just something about this movie that just does not work. It's not a truly memorable film. There is some scenes with Scarlet Witch and the visions that she does, and she creates like these memories within people. It's a bit of a mess. I think it takes away from the overall group, and I feel like they're almost a little bit separated once they have their visions and everything. But the movie does have some good action, and I do like Quicksilver in here. I think he's very entertaining. Scarlet Witch is good in her role, and I really like Ultron. If it wasn't for them, I'd put this at the D, the bottom, but I'm going to put it in the C just because it has some fun moments, and I do think some of the cast does work, and it's funny at times, but there is some really bad story elements in the movie. Alright, I think that's the first Avengers. These are really tiny. First Avengers movie. This was like the big event in 2012 when it came out. It was massive. I saw it at a midnight screening, and I was just completely blown away by the film. I think this movie is highly entertaining, taking these characters that we've seen individually, like Thor and Iron Man and Captain America, and a little bit of Black Widow, and we get Hawkeye in the film. They work really well together, but what makes this film work is that They just don't jump into the group and like, hey, I'm Captain America, I'm Iron Man, nice to meet you, let's go save the day, everything's happy. No, they have to really work at being a group. They have to understand the group dynamics, and some might not work well with someone else. And I think that's realistic to tell in a story like this, that everything's just not perfect. They even have that scene where Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor are fighting when they first meet each other. That's something that is realistic, and you have to have that to build up that group and make some of the moments in that movie more emotional and more compelling. If they didn't have them fight and argue, then it would just be all fun and dandy and sweet. But it's not that. So Avengers, sorry, the first Avengers film I think is really great. I love it. It's a blast. It's iconic. Goes in the S section. From my understanding, is like the best of the best. Yay! It's a good movie. Next up, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really like Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's not as good as the first Ant-Man movie. I think they tried to do a little too much with the story. I think Ghost is a pretty decent villain. She's not considered a villain in my eyes. She's just trying to live her life. And so it adds that emotional weight to the villain. The Wasp is really cool. I think she's great in the movie. I think her and Ant-Man work really well together, and they really play off of each other, and it's funny. I think that Paul Rudd is funny in his role again. I'm going to go ahead and put Ant-Man and the Wasp in the C section, though. It's not as good as the first Ant-Man. I do think it's enjoyable, but there are some story elements that I don't think work for me. Next, we got Black Panther. Black Panther was a lot of fun. Similar to Ant-Man and the Wasp, Black Panther had a villain that I don't think was too villainous. I mean, he's doing villainous things like trying to kill people, but in terms of his story, I think it was written really well. Chadwick Boseman is great as Black Panther. There was a lot of good world building in this movie. I wanted to know more about Wakanda. It's probably one of the coolest places in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The action's really good. Told an interesting story. It was compelling at times. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the A section. Black Panther is really good. Then we have... Which one is that? That's the first Captain America movie. It's really tiny. Captain America, the First Avenger. Everybody knows how I feel about Captain America. If you see my ranking video, I always put Captain America high because I really like the character. I think they fleshed him out really well in this movie. Made him really scrawny and then really big, and then he believed in himself. But I really like the story that he will do anything to help save the day, even put his life on the line. There are some corny moments with him promoting, though I don't know, I guess promoting the war, but all those times where he's singing and not singing, just like everybody's that play. I don't know what it is. That play where he's standing there and he's reading things and he's acting out like war scenarios. I don't think he was dancing or whatever. I don't know what I was thinking. But Captain America, the First Avenger, it's a blast. I really enjoy Captain America. One of my favorite Marvel characters. I really enjoyed the movie. I like how it looks. It feels vintage and old. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the A section. I don't think I'm not ranking these like Captain America is better than Black Panther, even though it is. It's just where they go on this tier list. Next we got Civil War, which is a really epic story. I caught the end of it the other day on television, and I forgot how amazing that movie is, especially that end scene with Winter Soldier and Captain America fighting Iron Man. I was like, I don't want them to fight. I want you guys to be best friends. I want you guys to love each other, hug it out, and talk about it. But with so many movies into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have to do something different. And this was that movie. You had to do something different. You pitted these characters against each other, and it made it for an emotional story. Plus, you got Black Panther in this movie, really great, and Spider-Man briefly, which was fun. But this story is so vastly different than other Marvel films. And that what makes this movie work so well is the storytelling and how epic it is. And I'm going to go ahead and put Civil War in the S section. S for awesome, because, yeah. Captain Marvel. This is a bit of a mixed movie for a lot of people. Some people really like it. Some people absolutely hate on this film and trash it. I'm towards the middle. I don't think it's one of the best Marvel films, but I don't think it's one of the worst Marvel films either. I think it is a fun film. Captain Marvel is a really entertaining character. Brie Larson is very confident in her role. She is someone that I wanted to see more of. We got to see a little bit of her in Endgame, but I really like her powers. I think she feels confident in herself, which is nice to see in this movie. It's not your typical origin story. It kind of works in reverse, but it's visually stunning. Samuel L. Jackson is good in his role. Goose is a character that I didn't know that I needed, but I needed in my life, and now I have Goose, and Goose is amazing. Captain Marvel, fun film. I guess I can see why people may not like it. I know there's a lot of controversy with Brie Larson, and that's the reason why people don't like the film. But I'm gonna go ahead and put Captain Marvel in the B section. It's a good film. I don't think these are going off of how I would put them. If I did a review for each one, I would say, this is an A+ film, or this is a B+. So I'm just putting these in the tier list. Thor: The Dark World. I don't really like the first couple of Thor films. There's too much Earth, not enough Asgard, and it doesn't make the story, I guess, worth watching. There's a lot more of Loki, which makes this film have the upper hand against the first Thor film. But I'm going to go ahead and put Thor in the D section. It's boring. It's not a fun film. It's kind of drags. It's generic. It's a shame because Chris Hemsworth is really good as Thor, but it's not something that I would go out and try to watch again right now. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is like an acid trip. It's all over the place with its visuals. The visuals are really good. Benedict Cumberbatch. The other day I was searching through the weird names for Benedict Cumberbatch, and I found one. It was Benadryl Cobblestone. Benadryl Cobblestone. And I was laughing all day about it. But Doctor Strange, really cool character. Reminds me of Tony Stark a lot. Very confident in himself. People may not like him, and then he has to understand what it takes to be a superhero. But I'm going to go ahead and put Doctor Strange in the C section. Endgame. Woo! Endgame probably has the best end scene, or big climatic action scene to any movie I've ever seen in my life. Endgame is truly astounding. It is breathtaking. It is just like your hair rising on your arms moments. The story is urgent for all the characters, and these characters in the movie are the best they've ever been. Captain Marvel, no, not Captain Marvel, she was barely in this movie. Captain America, Iron Man, even Hawkeye. They were so good in this movie compared to other movies. I absolutely love this movie. It is so good. It's long, but it's worth the watch. It goes in the D section, maybe? C? B? A? No. It's going to go into the S section for being so good. Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is the Thor movie I needed. It brought so many cool elements to the movie. It's so funny. The action's great. It understands itself. It is a total blast. I absolutely love Thor Ragnarok because it's not on Earth. It's in other parts of the world, the universe, that makes it just such a fun film. It's got Korg in it. I need more Korg. I need a Marvel Disney Plus streaming service to show about Korg. It's so fun. I'm going to go ahead and put Thor Ragnarok in the A section. A lot of A's and S's and a couple C's going on here, but we got more. And this will also include, I don't know if I actually said in the beginning, this will include Far From Home, because I have seen Far From Home the other day. But we're working with Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is a fun film. took a bunch of odd characters that no one really knew about and worked them in the group. And it's kind of like Avengers, where they fought for a while and then they had to understand what it took to be a team. But Groot is iconic and Rocket is hilarious. Chris Pratt is like his breakout role. Gamora and Drax are all good. It's a fun film. It's got a good story. I think the group dynamic definitely does work. It has a really good progression with its characters and understands that it's silly at times, but it embraces that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the A section because it's a fun film. The Incredible Hulk. This is probably not the weirdest, but the one that stands out amongst all the Marvel films. I feel like most of the Marvel films feel the same in tone and action, whereas The Incredible Hulk is just completely out of left field. It's weird. I really wish I would see more of that conflict within Bruce Banner and the Hulk and them trying to understand one each other. And that's what we got a little bit of in Endgame and Infinity War, was them, the Hulk, battling within himself. But Abomination is really good in the movie. I think some of the action at the end is gritty. It's a dark film. Not dark in tone-wise, but dark when it's hard to see the film. But the Hulk, I really want to like it, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in the D, just because it drags at time. Iron Man 3. I don't like Iron Man 3. It's my least favorite one. I explained to my ranking videos many times, I just don't like Iron Man 3. I don't like the twist with the Mandarin. I don't like the action. I don't like the movie in general. And Iron Man 2. I don't like Iron Man 2 either. I like Iron Man as a character. I just don't like these two Iron Man films, Iron Man 3 and Iron Man 2. They just take a step back with the first Iron Man film, and they're not entertaining. It's corny. It's just stupid. The first Iron Man, though, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the B section, just because Iron Man, the story was told really good, and I like how he tried to come home and understand his abilities and wanted to use them for good, and I like the story. Jeff Bridges' villain was kind of generic, but I like that there was a focus more on Iron Man. Then we got 5 films left. We got Infinity War, 2 Spider-Mans, Thor, and Captain America Winter Soldier. I'm going to get Thor out of the way and put it in the D section, just because there's too much Earth, not enough Asgard. I've said it over and over again. They just didn't put Chris Hemsworth, the potential that he had to have in this role. He's funny, but I think they should have developed his character a little more and had a little more for him to do, and it would have been fun. There was really not like that big one climatic action scene that made Thor kind of cool. Funny, but they should have done more with the character. A lot of D's in here. But these ones up here, these last 4, are really good. Let's go with the first Spider-Man film. The first Spider-Man film is so good. I like Vulture. He's probably one of my favorite MCU villains. Maybe I'll do a tier list for the villains at some point. But I like that they understood that he's a teenager. And not Vulture. Vulture's not a teenager. Spider-Man, he's a teenager, and he's got a lot to do. He had that cool brief moment in Civil War, but here in the first Spider-Man film, he's got to show that he's worthy of being an Avenger, and he really wants it. And he wants Iron Man to believe in him. Side note, I really like the relationship between Iron Man and Peter Parker. I think it is truly sweet, and they really brought that emotional moment towards the end with Endgame, and even Spider-Man Far From Home touched upon that relationship as well and what it meant to Peter Parker. But Spider-Man was a blast. John Watts did a great job of directing the film. It feels like a teenage movie. It's kind of got like that John Hughes-esque style of filmmaking, and it's funny. It's a blast. Vulture is a really well-written villain. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the A section. I really enjoy it. We'll save Spider-Man Far From Home for last. Infinity War is probably the Marvel film that I've watched the most. That month leading up to Endgame, I watched it 7 or more times. I watched it, like, I remember a Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, I watched it each night. And I was like, this movie just gets better and better. And I even, if I could go back in time, I would put Avengers Infinity War as my favorite film of 2018. I had it at number 4 behind Roma, Mission Impossible, A Star Is Born. But I would put it at number 1. It's that good. It definitely feels urgent. I absolutely love Infinity War. Thanos is such a well-written villain. Oh my god, I just love Infinity War. It just starts right away and does not let go. It is a quickly paced film. The action is crazy. That scene with Thor entering Wakanda, it is epic. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the S section. The ranking video last time I put Endgame before Infinity War, but that kind of flip-flops. I'd go back and forth between them two. They're really good. And this looks like it's the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is an amazing film. Anything with Captain America, I love it. It's a story that really takes its time to develop it, and it's something completely different. It's like a political thriller, dealing with the facts of Shield versus Hydra, and I think it's a story that works well for Captain America, and he wants to help save the world. And then you have Bucky into the movie with the Winter Soldier, and that adds that emotional weight to the movie and adds more to the character of Steve Rogers, because he wants to save his friend and wants to be there for him, but he wants to fight him the whole time and argue with him. And Captain America will not give up, and that's why I think it's such a personal, developing story for Captain America, and I think it works for him, and it makes Civil War the movie that it is, and why Captain America and Iron Man fight. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the S section. Now we got the last one, Spider-Man Far From Home. I saw this Wednesday at the press screening for it. It's my first press screening ever, too. I was really happy about that. I thought Spider-Man Far From Home was so cool. I like what they did with Mysterio. I like that they still understood Spider-Man, and they were trying to make him understand what it takes to be a superhero. He was dealing with the loss of Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, and it made some moments emotional, and the movie definitely surprises you. I don't want to spoil it, but the storyline definitely does work. It's something that flipped it on its head. I was like, wow, that is awesome, and I should have saw it coming, but I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's a blast. Definitely go see Spider-Man Far From Home when it comes out in theaters, I think on Tuesday. It is a good film. A lot of good action scenes. I love how it was shot, too. There's some really intense action scenes that utilize some great camera work. So I'm going to go ahead and put Spider-Man Far From Home in the A. So looking at this, we have a lot of good Marvel films. 4 S's. These are the best of the best. If I consider the best Marvel films, those are the best ones. Avengers, Civil War, and then the 2 other Avengers films, Infinity War and Endgame. The A's are really good film. We got Captain America, First Avenger, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, the 2 Spider-Man films, Guardians, and the second Captain America movie. Then you got the B ones, which are pretty good films. You have Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and Ant-Man. And then you got the C's, which are okay films. Not the best, but they're decent. And that's Avengers, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Doctor Strange. And then you got those 6 ones at the bottom that I really don't care to watch ever again, but I'm sure I will at some point in my life. That's Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Thor, The Dark World, Hulk, Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2, and Thor. And so next year we have, I think, 2 films, which I assume may be Black Widow and Doctor Strange 2. So we'll see about doing a tier list for that later on. If you would like to see more tier lists on my channel, make sure to comment down below. What tier list would you like for me to do? I just want to do something a little bit different with this ranking video instead of just doing it number 23, number 22, number 21. I wanted to do a tier list because I've seen them and I've been watching people's tier list videos and I thought they were really fun, so I wanted to do one for you guys. So if you like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I hope you guys had fun with me. I had a lot of fun. Computer's sitting right here, got to click around and taking a few sips of this soda. The doctor would not be happy with me. But make sure to subscribe to my channel for more upcoming movie reviews. I'll be doing, looking at my calendar, I got some fun things coming up. I'll probably rank the Marvel phases. That should be fun. And Stranger Things is coming out. Lion King, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, some fun movies coming out. So, enough with that. My name is JustinWatchesMovies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.